Hi friends, today we're going to paint a polar bear. So if you want to grab your pencil, your eraser, your Sharpie, make sure you have a Sharpie, or when you add the paint it will bleed across your paper. Watercolor paper, also important for shading. Watercolor paints, paintbrushes, and water. Also grab a paper towel. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to start with this bear's nose. We're going to draw a small circle kind of right in the middle of our paper like this. We'll add an upside down triangle like that, just a little line coming down, 3 little dots on either side of that line, just like this. So that's his nose, and we're going to add 2 eyes coming off of that nose like this. We'll add a little highlight in there on either side. Okay, now we're going to draw in his head. So we'll go from about here, go around and up like this, and then we'll do the same on the other side. You want to try to make it as close as you can, but it doesn't need to be perfect. And we're going to add in some ears. Now his ears aren't perfectly round, so they're a little bit flat like this. And we'll add in just a little line in the middle here to show the inside of his ear. Add just a curved line across like this for the top of his head, and then his other ear, again not perfectly rounded, kind of like flat, and then back down the curve on the inside. Alright, now this bear's face is a little bit shorter and fatter than this face over here, and that's okay. They're not always going to look the same. So we're going to draw in a scarf, a line down on either side like this, and then we'll connect the two with a curved line. You don't want it to be straight, you want it to be curved. Then we'll draw this part of the scarf that's kind of blowing, a little bit of a curvy line like this, and then a second one, and pull it back like that. Just a little thicker. We'll draw a couple little strings coming off like this. Alright, we're going to move on to the bear's body. So we're just going to do a curved line down on this side and a curved line down on this side. Right from his nose straight down, start right about here. We're going to draw a line down just like this. In line with that line, draw a curved line in like this, and then in line on this side, the same curved line, but the opposite direction. We'll start about here for his paw, down and around like that. Oh, I think I made mine a little too big, so I'm going to take my eraser and erase part of that. Okay. And then we'll do the same on the other side. Alright, now we're going to draw 2 bigger circles. These are his back paws. He's kind of sitting down. Maybe he's waiting for some fish. You can connect those lines if they don't quite connect. Alright, and then we're going to draw the bottom portion of his paw here. So we have like a curved line and then a round. And then we have 3 circles, 1 bigger and 2 a little bit smaller. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so I think I have my bear all sketched out. So I'm going to grab my Sharpie and we're going to go over all of those lines with this Sharpie. You can kind of fix anything that you want to fix while you're doing this. You can make some of these lines thicker to show a little bit more dimension, so that the outer lines are what you want to make thicker. When you do the eyes, make sure to leave that highlight white and you can fill in the rest of the eye with your black. Alright, I'm almost there. If you need to catch up, feel free to pause the video and then restart it when you're ready. Sometimes this part takes a little while. Okay, I think I'm about ready. So I'm going to close up my marker and I'm going to grab my eraser and erase all of my pencil marks. Alright, I'm ready to paint. So I'm going to grab my paintbrush and my paper towel and I'm going to go ahead and start with the scarf. And you can make your scarf whatever color you want. I decided to go with like a teal color. So I'm just going to fill in my scarf with a little bit of water. Oh, I missed a couple pencil lines right there. Go ahead and erase those. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to grab a little bit of my teal color and I'm going to actually start at the bottom with my teal color because that's where I want it to be the darkest. So I just make a line across that scarf like this. And then I can grab a little water and pull it up. If you add some water, it'll start to move along up the scarf. If you feel like it's not quite dark enough, you can add some more to the bottom and it'll still move along there because it's still wet. You can make it a little darker on either side here just to give it a little more dimension too. And also right under his nose there would be a shadow. So the lightest part should be here and here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add some of this teal to this side. Again, I'm starting at the base and you want it darker over here. And then kind of drag it up with some water. Just like that. And then we'll do the last part of this scarf darker over here and under here. And drag it up with some water. All right, our scarf is done. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some light pink for his nose. So let's take a little bit, I'm gonna make it darker at the bottom. You can see it kind of moved up his nose. That's not as big of a space, so it's okay if there's not a whole lot of changes in the color. So for the ears, we're just gonna make it a tiny bit wet. And again, add a tiny bit of pink. Closest to this line here is where you want it darkest. I'm gonna do it on this side too, and then grab some water. And we'll fill this in a little bit and drag it down. But you don't want to drag it down too far, just about there. And then it's kind of the inside of his ear. All right, we're gonna add a little bit to his paws here. So we want it darker here by this paw, so there'd be a shadow. And then we will take some water and drag that up in that spot. Just like this. And go ahead and add some pink to these little circles. Darker at the bottom, and then lighter at the top. And do the same thing on this side. Darker here. And then lighter up here. Darker down here. And lighter at the top. Okay. All right, so everything has dimension except for the actual bear yet. So this is a polar bear, so we still want him to look white, but we want to give him a little bit of shadow. So you can see that I added some shadows in certain spots around the bear, but he still looks like a white bear. So we're gonna just take a wet brush, go down on either side of his face first, and around his nose, and right here by his scarf. And we're going to grab a little bit of gray, a very small amount, and kind of go in that those wet spots that we made with that gray. Be very careful not to get too much that he looks like a gray bear instead of a polar bear. And you can just grab some water and kind of blend it into the white. If you get too much, you can pull some back up and wipe it on your paper towel. I'm going to add a little bit down here on his nose. Okay. And then I'm going to add a little bit up here at the top of his head. Again, just pull some out and blend it into the white. Right here on his ears, on both sides, to be some shadow. Okay, can blend that in. All right, and we're going to go down here to his belly. There's a good bit of dark here because of all this shadowy space by his legs. So we want to fill that in underneath of the scarf and right in here. So we're just going to take some water again, just like we did before, and go around the main edges that we want shaded. Okay, I did that. So now I'm just going to clean off my brush a little and kind of pull those out into the center so they blend a little nicer. I think his belly area is about done, maybe a little darker in here. That would be the darkest spot. Okay, all right, I'm going to add a little bit to his paws, so down here would be darker, as well as right in here. We want some shadow. All right, we're going to move to his last 2 feet. We want some shadowing down here and right in here. That's kind of behind that other foot. All right, I think my polar bear is about done. I hope you had fun drawing and painting with me, and I would love to paint again with you. If you could subscribe, that would be fantastic. And check out the other links in the description. There might be some other fun things that you might be interested in. I look forward to seeing you again. Bye.